all of us were deeply involved in helping the American people understand what was in the bill as it was making its way through the legislative process. We were writing op-eds, we were writing papers, we were doing conferences, we were doing every media opportunity we could to help the American people understand what was in it. And it was passed over the strong objections of the majority of Americans who understood that this really is a transformative law in how citizens relate to government. And we said, now we know what the law is, and we are beginning to see a lot of the independent studies about how this is actually going to affect people. And so we went to a New York publisher and we said, we think the American people are going to want a book to help them understand not just what's in the law, but how it affects them, what they can do about it, and what we should be doing instead.
In a normal process, you would say, all right, we worked this through, let's find out what's in the legislation. You had committees actually marked up legislation, they had committee reports, you had a period of time to digest it and think about what was in it, as opposed to the way both these bills in the House and the Senate essentially were written in the leadership offices, unveiled with a day or two to spare. Here's what it's going to be, and we'll twist and tweak and adjust and make some deals and put some things in at the last minute, whatever it takes to get us enough votes. So they got it passed, but they never got the approval of the American people. And as we began to see what was inside, those special surprises that got wrapped after they were delivered, we find more and more that something else is in there than what was promised, and there are wide, open-ended delegations of authority to who knows who is going to write laws or regulations that will turn this into something even entirely different than what the members thought they passed.
And one of their main talking points was, you know what, we can cover everybody in America, and it won't cost middle-class taxpayers anything, and by the way, the deficit's going to come down, not go up. Now, for most Americans, common sense sort of makes them think twice about this. Is that really true? Can the federal government just entitle tens of millions of people to a new benefit? It's not going to cost me anything, and suddenly the deficit's going to go down? I think to most Americans, they rightly are saying to themselves, not going to happen, and it won't happen. Basically, they got to that talking point through tricks, smoke and mirrors, and a lot of budgetary games. The truth is that the federal budget will be taking on huge new obligations, and the way they supposedly pay for it are ways that won't materialize over time.
I have a friend who lives on the West Coast in California who got a copy of the book through Amazon and read it, and they read it in one weekend. They read it quickly. They liked it. They read it, and they found it easy to read. But their response was the same response that we got from a top-ranked healthcare economist who graduated from Columbia University, who said, this is the best one-stop shopping that I've ever had on the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. It's all there, it's clear, it's nice and nicely written. All of the key elements are addressed in the book, and anybody can understand it. It's very, very accessible to millions of Americans who are not experts in healthcare policy. I think we've accomplished what we set out to do, which is to basically make a very, very difficult and complex topic accessible and easy to understand for millions of Americans.